What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on Get Up, they're going to be talking about, will Patrick Mahomes have to win 6 Super Bowls in order to become the GOAT? So let's see what they have to say about that.
I'm getting text messages during the Super Bowl. Remember you said he was the greatest ever? Remember you said he going to be in the conversation? And then by the end of the game, oh, you was right. You was right. You said it. Now we believe it. Come on, man. We gotta trust what our eyes tell us. Gee, sometimes my eyes and my gut doesn't match up. But sometimes it's just easy. Just like he got a $500 million contract for the Kansas City Chiefs, that's easy. It's easy to get that guy that kind of money. For me, my head and my gut matched up. My gut is a big one, so I got to listen to it extra. But when they lined up, I had to say what I had to say. And it's the truth, man. That's Patrick Mahomes. And when it's all said and done, I truly believe he will be known as the greatest quarterback to ever play in the game.
Here's the vision.
So I'm kind of neutral with what he just said because I can't tell him he's wrong or right about what he thinks. But Patrick Mahomes is well on his way to becoming the best ever. So like there's levels to this, like I said in other videos. His first level, he won MVP 2 years ago. The next level last year, he won his first Super Bowl. So at this point now, all we have to do is wait for longevity to kick in. How long can you play at a high level where he's going to Super Bowls and winning multiple Super Bowls? And you can't rush longevity. So let's continue.
I'm having of the future for both of you guys. But Marcus, I will start with you because we've been doing this for 2 years now. And anyone who watches this show knows how much you love basketball and how much you love, in particular, LeBron James. And so I just have this vision of us sitting, hopefully in the same room by that time, but having this conversation 10 years from now. And there is a generation of people who want to anoint Mahomes as the greatest of all time. And the Brady people are out there saying, he's got 6 rings. You got to have 6. I mean, the symmetry of that lining up with Michael's 6 just fits so well to me. Do you believe that 10 years from now, that will be the debate? The young people will be saying Mahomes is the greatest of all time, and the Brady people will be like the Jordan people today.
Absolutely, G, and it would be the antithesis of the conversation that we have about LeBron James and Michael Jordan. And you know where I fall on that side. It's LeBron James for me. This will be another part of that argument to put Mahomes as the greatest quarterback ever, even though he may not end up with 6 rings. You look at the talent and the ability and all of the things that he can do on the football field, and people will make that argument. I know I will. I know I'll make the argument that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest ever based on what I think he'll be able to accomplish, even though it may not be 6 Super Bowls. It will give us our Michael Jordan, LeBron James football argument between Mahomes and Brady, and I'm going to be on the side of Mahomes, especially if he gets 2 or 3 more Super Bowls.
So, Greg, I hope...
So I'm going to have to disagree with that because in order for Patrick Mahomes to become the GOAT, he's going to have to win at least around 6 Super Bowls, 5 or maybe 6. Anything less than 5 is not going to cut it because that's like Kobe and Michael Jordan. I hate talking about Kobe because of what happened. But like I said, if you're going to have to you're going to have to match Tom Brady, if not surpass Tom Brady, because if not, that's too much of a gap of a guy doing better than you are, and you're not matching him. And it's not like it's just 6 Super Bowl wins or nothing, because Montana and Terry Bradshaw both have 4 Super Bowl rings. They never lost. Some people say that's better than Tom Brady going to 9 Super Bowls and only winning 6. And he got beat twice by the same guy, Eli Manning, in the Super Bowls. So what would you rather have, 6 Super Bowl rings and gone 9 times? Or would you have liked to have gone to 4 Super Bowls and never lost, like Terry Bradshaw and Joe Montana? So like I said, there's kind of like levels to this. And Patrick Mahomes, he's going to have to get more than 4 because, again, Joe Montana's up for the GOAT, maybe even Terry Bradshaw the GOAT. And then he trickles down a little bit more. Look at Ben Roethlisberger has 2 rings. He's been in 3. And then it goes down even further with 1-ringers. So Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, all these different guys, just levels to that. In order to become the best, he's going to have to get around 6, if not more, to pass that, because there's too many people doing bigger things than what he would have been doing if he only gets 1, 2, or 3. So let's continue.
You'll be sitting alongside us in that conversation, and here's the deal. There's such a symmetry here because Jordan has 6, Brady has 6. LeBron right now has 3. If someone like Mahomes, for the next his money doesn't really kick in, if you will, until 3 years from now. The next 2 years, he is a relative bargain from a contract standpoint. They can bring back all these players. If a guy like Mahomes is sitting there with 3 championships, will you be willing to say he has surpassed Brady? I'm just throwing out that as a straw man argument. Would you be willing to say he has surpassed Brady as the greatest of all time?
So let me jump in real quick. I don't think you can say that he's past Brady, because if he only gets 3, that means he only has half as much Super Bowl rings as Tom Brady. You can't even break half of what, Tom Brady has. That's why I said he's going to have to get at least 5, if not 6 or 7, in order to clearly say that he's better than Tom Brady. Because like I said, it's not just, 6 Super Bowl rings or nothing. There's guys that have 4. There's guys that have 3. There's guys that have 2. And there's a lot of guys in this generation that have 1 that he's tied with now, which is great. But, it's not just, 6 Super Bowl rings or nothing. And you can say that it's like the argument with LeBron James. LeBron James he has half as many championships as Michael Jordan. So it's very hard to make the argument that you can say that he's better than Michael Jordan. And again, looking at Kobe Bryant and Magic Johnson, both of those guys have 5 rings, and it's still kind of tough to make an argument saying that he's better than Jordan when Jordan has 6 rings. So I think Patrick Mahomes is probably going to have to surpass, Tom Brady with 6 rings. So let's continue.
If you gave me the choice right now, knowing what we know, what's made Brady incredible is his longevity and consistency. And right now, we don't know what we're going to get from Mahomes 10 years from now. But if I had to pick a guy right now, had to pick one for my franchise for 20 years, I'd take Pat Mahomes. I really believe that, because I think that upside is so remarkable. And if you look at Brady's early tenure, his first 3 rings, the defense was really the star of the show. And of course, as he got later on in his career, he developed more of a mindset and ability to stretch the field, ability to take over games. But it took him a few years to get to that point. Pat Mahomes, from his first start as a rookie, was maybe the best player on the field. So if I had to pick one between the two, knowing I'm going to get 20 years of health and consistency, I'm taking Mahomes, because that ceiling is just so incredibly high.
The way that
So the argument's kind of changed a little bit, shifted, because now if we're talking about, we can guarantee that Patrick Mahomes is going to have the longevity. He's going to be able to play 20 years without being injured. That's a whole different type of animal right there. Because then now I can say, okay, he's going to be okay for 20 years, no injuries. Now all I have to worry about is his players. What is he surrounded by Pro Bowlers, or is he surrounded by trash? Because if he's surrounded by trash, it's going to be very hard to win when he has no weapons. But if he has weapons and he's going to play for 20 years and be healthy, that changes my argument. Think, maybe there might be a better chance of Patrick Mahomes becoming the GOAT. But you don't know how long he's going to be able to play. Like I said, what Tom Brady is still in uncharted waters, playing for 20 years, gone to 9 Super Bowls and won 6. That's very hard. That's unheard of. That's unheard of, and that's a lot of work. And it's going to take, like I said, right now we're sitting at longevity with Patrick Mahomes. He won MVP. He won his first Super Bowl. But there's a lot of guys that have won Super Bowl now, and some people like to argue that they could be the GOAT. And Rodgers, some people argue Drew Brees, and all those guys, Russell Wilson, all those guys have 1 ring. So it's going to be very, very hard to predict, if he's going to get 6 or 7 rings. That's a lot of work, and that's a lot of time. That's at least 6 years. So I don't know. Let's continue.
These two debates could stack up is really good to me. You might have seen Hembo's pop up there. The age difference is much closer than I might have thought. The age difference between LeBron and Jordan and between Brady and Mahomes is actually much closer than I would have thought. So it is a really good comparison. Go ahead, Marcus.
I have to say this because I think it's very important what Greg just said. And I call Greg G, so this is a very confusing show for me today. I don't know what the hell to say. But what Greg just said is crazy. When you think about it in context, Greg just gave the word upside to Patrick Mahomes. Or like that, and that's the truth. He still has things that he can do better as a quarterback. So think about that and what we're having a conversation about. We're talking about a guy that's won a Super Bowl, been to an AFC Championship, is 24 years old. And he's already trending in the conversation with the greatest ever. Greg McElroy, who I respect as much as anybody in this business when it comes to looking at quarterbacks and seeing talent, just said his upside. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is how good he is. And
So I understand his upside, but the upside just means he's not doing it yet. It's like trying, or I'm trying to do this. Trying is the act of not doing. So his upside hasn't come yet. So like I said, it's very hard to speculate. You know, is he going to play 20 years? Is he going to go to 9 Super Bowls and win 6 of those? Is he going to win more? Because that's a very, very long time, and that's very hard to predict. There's way too many elements in there that could shut down his dynastic play. Like I said, excuse me. Oh, what players is he surrounded with? Is he surrounded with trash? Is he going to be injured? Can he fight through injuries? There's a lot of factors that can come in to derail him from doing what Tom Brady did. So that's why I like to say just sit back and let's watch Patrick Mahomes do his thing, because it's going to be fun. This guy's absolutely killing it, but you can't rush longevity. You just can't. So let's continue.
we have to acknowledge the fact that this is something we've never seen before in the NFL. And I don't think we'll fully appreciate that until we get down the road and we start into Pat Mahomes, into the meat and potatoes of his career, man.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
And let me stop again. So we have been here before. Like I said, how many quarterbacks won Super Bowls in the second year? What Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, I think, and a couple players. How many people been to the Super Bowl in their second year? Colin Kaepernick and I forgot who else. I think Dan Marino went to Super Bowl his second year. He didn't win it, and neither did Colin Kaepernick. But we've been there before, where second-year guys or extremely young guys get into the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. So let's not act like we are in completely uncharted waters.
But here's another thing we've never seen before. We've never seen a quarterback lead teams to the Super Bowl at age 39, 40, and 41, as Brady did. He was the MVP of the league at one point in there, threw for 500 yards in a Super Bowl in the middle of all of that. And again,
And let's not forget, they almost went undefeated. But Mr. Eli Manning took care of that. Messed everything up.
Lost, of all things. So I think Greg's initial point was a good one. The longevity is what separated Brady from everybody else.